setting up the video. We're setting everything up right now. I'm 8 seconds in, 10 seconds in. Steve, ready to let it go.
Well, I'm
almost ready.
I'm trying to set it up on both Rumble and YouTube. The reason is because you need to open up your horizons.
We're going to review a little bit of Aquaman 2. I'm going to talk about it, how terrible it is. I'm not going to get into spoilers though. No spoiler territory. Maybe a little bit of spoiler. Maybe some spoiler. Because I want to talk a little bit how the backstory of the whole story is so much better than the actual movie. It's so good. I'm like, I wish this was the movie, but it's not.
So I suppose if I put it, if it's made for kids, I get more views. But at the same time, it's inappropriate language probably come up.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I never say it's like for kids. Like nothing I make is for kids. Because I am probably going to curse or say something crazy.
I have no intention of
You're live using Rumble?
well, I'm trying to. But it looks like...
You're on YouTube, right?
No, I'm on YouTube, but it looks like it did not process, which is fucking crazy. Please wait it's live. Should be fucking... I don't know how to do this crap. I really don't. Alright, I guess when I...
Yeah, just do the basics. Go back to YouTube. Instead of using Rumble.
Alright, well I guess we're doing the live stream now, so... I guess we're doing the live stream now.
Obviously.
It's gotta be, obviously, because go to rumble.com live, and click 70 live stream above, upload a place on the video about punching it along, stream starts. Once the video is uploaded, providing the stream configuration. I'm gonna be very honest, I don't know how any of this shit works, so I'm gonna put this as private just in case. Yeah, I'm gonna put it as private. And I guess the live stream is still going on. Waiting for stream. Server. Whatever, what do you call it? We'll close it. Anyways, we are live. And 3, 2, we're live.
And we are live. All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello. As you can see, I have a beard.
He's becoming a caveman.
I'll get into that later.
Steve is becoming a caveman.
That'll be a separate video.
He's working so hard. He's growing a beard.
Well, I want to get rid of it now. Hipsters have ruined it. Hipsters have ruined the fucking beard.
Hipsters ruined everything. But yes,
they really did. I don't understand why Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. We're talking about
Aquaman 2. The one, the only, Brian J. here has decided to risk his well-being, his sanctity, his sanity, his confinement
absolute sanity.
Great film. The cinephile here,
losing my mind,
has desired to go out there to watch Aquaman 2, to review it, rate it, and what is the word? Absorb it.
Or as you would say, doing the Lord's work.
well, it's basically to say it like that, but yes, considering.
I mean, it's not the equivalent of walking 40 days and 40 nights, but I mean, my goodness, man.
This man.
That was the longest 2 hours I've sat in a movie.
Ticket?
Oh, I'm on AMC A-list, so it's free. Oh. Well, okay. I paid $23 a month for 3 free movies a week. So I'm not spending anything extra.
Hold on, I want.
So it's not breaking me at all. I'm not spending any money on the movie.
So you basically spend 13 cents per film.
Yeah, basically, and it's great. I'm totally fine with it. You know, as long as I'm not spending the full price, I'm good. But I mean, it was the longest 2 hours of my life in a long. It was not my life, but in a long time. This is the longest, most grueling experience I've had in a long time watching a movie.
I must ask. Because the majority of the people, the crowd, the viewers, the people that give us the reason to make these videos,
The people have to suffer through this.
that have to hear your non-stop ranting. But no, the people who are curious to know, was Aquaman 2 even a good film?
No, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Wow.
It's next to the Marvels. It's the worst movie of 2023.
Wait.
I think it's a tie. I think it's a tie with the Marvels.
You would put them both on the same level?
Yeah, both. Yeah, I would say they're tied as the worst movies of
You're
2023.
not gonna. So is one
It-
more worse than the other?
It's tough for me to choose. I haven't really made up my mind. It's tough for me to
ladies and
choose.
gentlemen,
I was thinking about it last night before I even went to sleep. 'Cause I
Ladies
was
and gentlemen,
like,
I want to say one thing. This man is a cinephile. This man loves movies.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you could say entertainment, but I don't know.
I love movies, yes.
thought
I love
you were-
cinema.
No,
I
but
love TV.
You love movies, TV shows.
books.
So that's still
yeah.
cinema. You know?
Yeah, I love cinema always. But
But
I mean,
the thing is, for a cinephile to say it was bad tells you a lot, a great deal. This is not the fact that it is Jason Momoa's fault, was it?
no, he's
Okay.
good. He's good. He's fine.
Okay, because from
He
what I've
carries the
heard-
movie the best he can.
From what I've heard, Jason Momoa does his best to carry the film.
It's not James Wan's fault too. I mean, James Wan. This movie was completely out of his hands, and James Wan is not the best director in the world, but he is a competent filmmaker. He's good. He can make a solid movie. This was not it. This was not that movie. This was definitely not that movie.
It sounds almost. I know. I'm very
Yeah.
close to the floor.
But Roger Ebert, when he saw films that were both so bad that they were equally terrible, he would always put them as a tie. I remember he did that live on TV where he saw two of the worst films of 2004 were Troy and Alexander. So he put them as the worst movies of 2004. Now I disagreed. I thought Alexander was a really good movie, but I agreed with him about Troy. Troy was a terrible, terrible movie. And to me, next to Resident Evil 2, that is the worst film of 2004. But I would say Resident Evil is the second worst.
The live-action Resident Evil films. I'll put it like this. It's not.
Almost all of them are terrible.
It's not the actress that's at fault. She does try to deliver what's on paper.
It's just the writing and the filmmaking is so terrible. You can't even take the shit seriously.
It's not even a Resident Evil film.
Yeah, but the only way you could enjoy them is if you could just laugh at them and have fun, which you can do, especially for the fourth, fifth, and sixth movie. It's
The poor actress went from
four or five.
same actress from
Mila
The Fifth
Jovovich.
Element,
She was in all six movies. Yes.
No, but the Fifth Element too, right?
Yeah, Mila Jovovich. Yeah, but
Poor actress. Her career went to a whole nother level.
granted, I'm one of the few Resident Evil fans that actually like the 2021 movie because they actually remade and rehashed scenes and shots from the first video game and Resident Evil 0, and that's why I like the movie.
Does it follow the Resident Evil franchise storyline?
It did, yeah.
Oh,
well, the problem with the movie was that it combined 3 video games into one movie. That was the problem. These are 3 video games that are like 10 to 15 hours long. They combined the first Resident Evil with Resident Evil 2
Wow.
with Resident Evil 0. Now, I liked the backstory they put in that they got from Resident Evil 0. That was really cool. And they were faithful to that entire lore and backstory. That was really cool. And so that was okay, but everybody seemed to hate it. And that was fine.
All right, anyways.
Back to Aquaman.
Now
But,
that we had our little tangent of going on track every now and then, we've had the first one.
Okay, so what was bad about Aquaman? The dialogue was awful. The dialogue was terrible. It was so cheesy and so cringe and so just made you feel like, oh God, listening to it. It just made you feel cringe and uncomfortable listening to how so terrible the dialogue was. A lot of the humor and the levity was so terrible and juvenile. There are 2 scenes where Jason Momoa, Aquaman's baby, who's a boy, who's his son, pees on him twice. And it is so terrible and so juvenile that it might as well have been something out of an Adam Sandler movie from like the late 90s. It was so bad.
I do want to say
and just way worse than Adam Sandler
I do
movie.
want to say
Way
this.
worse.
I do want to say this.
Adam Sandler did it better. Completely.
If the humor itself is, I wouldn't want to say childish because childish would
Very
imply
childish.
that you can get at least a slight chuckle out of it.
Very juvenile. Very bad.
It was that bad.
So bad.
We know it's true that babies do pee.
Yeah.
Especially their boys will pee on their parents at times.
Yeah.
Now, is this movie trying to capture reality too much into it?
No, it was just trying to be like the MCU, but really, really terrible. It was trying to be like what MCU used to be like 5 years ago, but it was so much worse in what they were trying to do. The plot was okay, but the problem was that the villain sucks, and the actor who plays the villain is a really, really good actor. I forgot his name. I'm gonna look him up. but he's a really good actor. He was in Candyman. He was in Watchmen. He's a really great actor. He has a lot of talent, but the villain was just terrible. The villain just sucked in just about every way.
I just want to say, if this is
like almost every MCU villain,
okay.
but it was worse.
Are we talking about every good MCU villain?
No. Like
knockoffs that were poorly done.
No, the MCU is full of villains that usually suck. This was that, but like times 1,000.
Oh my!
It was like this, but it was like really times 10.
So
I was like,
are we looking at a first introduction of Shocker getting his ass whooped?
huh?
The introduction of Shocker and then getting his ass whooped on the next page.
In this movie?
Yes.
No.
No.
It actually no. Well, I mean, it concludes in a way that's like, in a way that's uplifting, and it concludes the story of Aquaman, and it also includes really the entire DCEU as a whole. Where we're getting into spoilers, but he saves Atlantis, and he is introducing the world of Atlantis and himself and his family and his people to the UN and to the world. And now both of those worlds that were separated now know about each other, and it's one unified world. And so it's very cheesy, but it wraps a whole bow around Aquaman and the entire DCEU to a very large degree.
No, so basically what it did was it copied the Wakanda ending from Black Panther and just made it about Atlantis and the UN.
Yeah. It was the same thing.
So
It was the same thing. Only there's no follow-up. There's nothing to look forward to with the DCEU. It ended on a whimper. It ended badly, almost like it started off badly. Because while Man of Steel wasn't a bad movie, it was a terrible, terrible depiction of Superman being violent, killing people, causing collateral damage, not caring about civilians, not acting like Superman. I understood what Zack Snyder was trying to do. He's like, this is Superman not being Superman. He makes mistakes to where he realizes he has to be Superman. But that's not Superman. You're already starting off with the wrong mentality. And, of course, the DCEU ends really, really badly. And most of the movies in the DCEU were terrible. Suicide Squad by David Ayer, theatrical cut, terrible. The Justice League theatrical cut, terrible. Batman v Superman theatrical cut, terrible. Wonder Woman 2017, really good. Wonder Woman 1984, okay, not good or bad, but Man of Steel, not good. Aquaman 2, terrible. First Aquaman.
Okay? You thought Wonder Woman 1984 was okay?
Yeah, it was fine.
I thought it was bad.
I just didn't like.
The character. I'm like, oh.
Well, I didn't like that she raped a guy. That was the thing that I didn't like. I didn't like her raping a man. Like this guy, Chris Pine, is brought back to life, taking over another man's body, and she has sex with him while he's in that another man's body, and that guy is basically in a magical comatose state where he's not aware. Like, that's all rape, and it's the worst kind of feminazism shit. And the fact that the director, Patty Jenkins, tried to defend it made her look really, really bad. But other than that, I thought the film was gorgeous. I liked the villain. I liked the arc of Wonder Woman. I liked some of the visuals. It was really cool. I liked the fantasy aspect, but it had a lot of the problems that Spider-Man 3 had. Too many villains, too much shit going on, and it was a bloated mess, but it was okay. But Wonder Woman 2017 was really good. Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut, this is the guy, Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Yahya Abdul-Mateen. He plays the villain, and the villain was terrible.
You can never forget that at the end.
What?
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Yeah, the second. But he's
if you say without the second, you're referring to his father.
Right. But it's still Mateen.
No. All right, anyway.
He is the real Mateen. No, I'm just joking. But anyways, he's a really great actor. He's amazing. But the villain was just terrible. And it was just a badly written villain. But what was funny about Aquaman 2, this is getting into spoilers, but the backstory...
Let's try to avoid spoilers.
No, but I want to get into this because it was so funny. This is semi-spoilers, it doesn't spoil the whole movie. But the backstory to this story was so much better than the actual movie, where they go into this backstory of Aquaman and his brother's ancestors who were brothers that went to war with each other. And this main brother, who was a part of the Lost Kingdom, he becomes evil. He uses dark magic to create an evil trident. And he uses that evil trident to turn all of his people into monsters, and then he becomes a monster. And then he goes to war with his brother who's on the good side, and it's a big battle. And what was so cool about that backstory was like, it was a combination of the story of Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time, but done in this superhero fantasy setting that was so much fun. And I was like, this is so cool. This is great. But the problem was, is that it wasn't the main movie. It wasn't the story. But it was so much better than the actual movie. I'm like, wow, this would be so much better if it was the actual movie. but it was just the backstory. But it was more interesting than the shit that I was watching.
Okay, I want to ask something. You said Rings of Power, Ring of Time?
No, Lord of the Rings,
Lord of the Rings.
and Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time.
Yeah, not Rings of Power.
The
but
Amazon version or the original version?
No, original Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
No, not even the movies. I'm talking about Lord of the Rings, the books,
Okay,
as
the books.
also you could say the original movies as well. But the Wheel of Time books as well. It was like a combination of Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings, but it was in the fantasy DC superhero setting, and it was really, really good. I liked it. The problem is that it was the backstory and not the actual movie, and that's why it was so bad. Because like this is so much more interesting than what the shit that I'm watching. What I'm looking at is terrible, but that backstory, that whole lore and everything was so cool, and that's why the movie was so terrible. But go ahead. What do you think?
Oh no, I was gonna say if we're comparing this, excuse me, if we're comparing this to the books, you know it's gonna fail every time. So I do want to ask because you are our grade A bona fide cinephile that rates all films, shows, TVs, games, and movies all about.
Well, the movie failed itself because when you're letting the backstory just really
Take the light.
steal the thunder from like your main story, you're really screwing up because there were stakes, there was drama with that backstory, there was sibling rivalries, and there was magic, there was good versus evil.
You mean to tell me that
there was a villain that made his whole people into monsters under the ocean? Like it was so cool. And then you get back to the main story, you're like, this is so boring and terrible. Oh my god. Oh, and it was also
wait.
It was an unintentional comedy with the dramatic part where the main villain steals Aquaman's son because he needs to use his blood to bring back the evil guy from the past. And when they all start screaming and wailing, it's so funny. The dad's like, no! And then Jason Momoa, Aquaman's like, no! No! And then Nicole Kidman's like, no! And then Amber Heard, who's even worse, she's like, no! 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 Oh my god, my baby, no! It was so funny. I was dying, bro.
I want to ask, because viewers want to know, and it is a unified party line. What is this presence that Amber Heard has? Is she
20
in
minutes.
That film?
20 minutes.
Is
20
it 20 minutes of her just moving around and talking?
11
nonstop?
speaking lines. She just says one line per scene, and she also grunts a lot.
So
She goes, Aquaman, I love you, and then the next scene she's And there's also one scene where she saves Aquaman using her powers, but she says nothing. It might as well have been AI, even though it really was her. But it just could have been a computer-generated thing. She did absolutely nothing.
I'm sure an AI script would have been better, or let alone an AI
Yeah,
actor.
but she's always been a terrible actress. Amber Heard's one of the worst actresses. She's an absolute sociopath. She is a man beater. She is a husband beater. She tortured Johnny Depp for years and years. She ruined the Me Too movement, and she's a terrible actress. She's terrible in this movie, but she's only in it for 20 minutes, which is hilarious. And that's why I was amused by that part. I was really amused.
No, it's great. It's great that she's only in for 20 minutes.
It was amusing. It was so amusing.
It's still a tragedy that she's in the film because fans told Warner Brothers.
She's under contract.
Well, they
couldn't remove her completely.
They got locked down with one scene.
No, they couldn't remove her completely. They also contractually couldn't only give her one scene. So, but it's so funny when you watch it because she does nothing. She also comes across as a really terrible mother because the son is mostly being taken care of by Aquaman and his dad. He's doing all the dad shit. He's changing the diaper. He's holding the baby. He's loving the baby. He's being a good father. And she's somewhere doing the job, doing something under the ocean. And it's so funny, but it makes him look so much better as a father because he's a king doing the job as a king while coming across as mostly half the time a stay-at-home dad and working all at the same time while the wife is doing nothing. It was so funny. I was laughing so hard.
Wow, it's kind of an imitation of life, huh?
It was such a positive male role modeling. It was really, and it was also cool seeing the brothers getting along and trying to patch up their shit and set aside their differences and actually learn to love each other as a family. So that was pretty cool. But that's the only reason I give it a 3 out of 10 because of those things. Everything else made it a terrible experience.
Hearing everything you have said, I must give it a lower because Amber Heard is still in the film. It's a 0 out of 10.
But it's so funny that she's in it. The shit that she doesn't do, and what she gets to do is just too. It was too amusing. It was just too funny.
All right, so we have.
Oh, and the end credits is an absolute waste of time. Don't even stay for the end credits. It is absolute shit.
Because we do want to.
I'll even
encourage and protect the
all
viewers.
right, can I spoil the end credits?
Of course.
Okay, so the end credit was funny on its own, but it didn't need to be an end credit. That's why it's terrible. But it's Patrick Wilson, who plays Aquaman's brother, who decides to try out a cheeseburger and fries, which he had never done before. But he sees a cockroach on the table, and he actually likes eating cockroaches. So he takes the cockroach, and this is in New York City. He takes the cockroach, he puts it on the cheeseburger, he eats it, and he loves it. Cheeseburger with cheese, with lettuce and tomato, with a cockroach and fries, and he loved it. He had a good time. You can literally watch it on YouTube.
I feel sick with that. I want to go home.
But it was so funny.
I need to take a shower for teeth.
It was so funny. But yeah, he loves eating cockroaches.
Okay, well that's a tragic destruction of a character.
It was so funny.
There's no overall screens. Don't see it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We've had almost 20 minutes now speaking about this film. I have not seen it because, like many who has heard Amber Heard was going to be in the film, we're not going to see it because she's there. Second of all, what was the story about? Nothing.
No, it was about something. It was just terrible.
What was the something?
The story was about the villain trying to get this dark trident and to awaken the evil big bad as a part of their ancestors to just kill Aquaman.
So basically,
It was a whole revenge story. The villain trying to kill Aquaman.
No.
Yeah.
They just ripped the whole storyline from Loki
Right.
out of Avengers.
It was a revenge story. Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah.
That's a horrible fan.
But he was trying to kill Aquaman to avenge his father's death in the first movie.
They mean the same man he ended up getting killed because he told him we don't need your help and shit like that.
Yeah, the father. Whatever the father did. I don't remember. I haven't seen the movie in 3 years, so.
Listen, let's forget it.
I mean,
forget things.
it was okay.
Things a little too fast. I forget things quickly.
It was certainly better than this.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. From the way it sounds, Aquaman 1 is by far a much better film.
And I have more movies to watch in December. I have to watch the Wonka movie. I want to watch the Japanese anime by Hayao Miyazaki, Harem and the Boy.
By chance. Have you seen Godzilla Minus One?
It was great. It was phenomenal. We reviewed it already.
Oh.
Yeah, we reviewed it already.
We have?
I told you it was amazing.
I don't recall. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen.
We can talk about it later if you want.
Later. I'll bring
Have you seen it yet? Here we go. Awesome. So, I just wanted to mention, back on the internet, the best movie I've seen in December would be Maestro by Bradley Cooper. He plays Leonard Bernstein. Phenomenal film. It has great Oscar buzz. I hope he wins Best Actor, even though Cillian Murphy's great in Oppenheimer. Leonardo DiCaprio's amazing in Killers of the Flower Moon. I hope they win too, but I really hope Bradley Cooper wins. I hope he gets nominated for Best Director. Carey Mulligan's great. I hope she wins Best Actress. Second best movie was Rebel Moon Part 1. Really good movie. You got to see it. We can review it. It's basically Star Wars, but way better than the recent Star Wars movies. It's a combination of Star Wars, Seven Samurai, with a little bit of what's the other? It's Magnificent Seven, The Dirty Dozen, and also Zack Snyder's version of Justice League, where Ben Affleck goes around to recruit all these superheroes to fight against Darkseid, the big bad. And in Rebel Moon, it's about this woman named Korra who has to recruit all these warriors to fight against the evil empire, which is basically what was done in Seven Samurai, where all those samurais had to band together to defend this village from this evil empire that's trying to take all their resources. Rebel Moon is a damn good movie. I think it's Zack Snyder's second best movie.
I will say this.
But Aquaman 2 is the worst movie I've seen in December. Don't go see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been given advice by not me, not I. I have not sacrificed such time, precious as it may be, for my schedule. We must thank Brian J. for risking, sacrificing his mind, his patience, his brain, his
risking
attention,
my life
his
and health
and his
to review.
well-being to watch such a disastrous, terrible film. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank Brian J.
All right.
Thank you. And we are going to say goodbye because this is the end of the review. And we hope to catch you again next time. I must upload a video as to why I've been absent, and that will come out at a much later time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.
Brian J's Nerd Talk. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. Live long and prosper.